Hey everybody, this is your girl LaWanda, and we're doing another lunchtime debate with me and of course Mario. Now we do have a show, that's what's up on K254 Radio, but this is something different. Now the topic is, does school prepare you for life? I'm gonna go ahead and get him in on here so we can get this started. What up though? Hello. Okay. All right. Does school prepare our children for life? Now, let me give some people some time to get on this because we definitely want people to comment. And will you leave him alone? Listen, I think my grandkids gonna get in on this too. Look at this. Look at this. Because we are looking at our kids, the next generations, when we're having our children and our children are having children. So this discussion is all, leave
What's
him
going on?
alone. What up, though? You ready for this topic, man?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So, so I want to give people time to come. Well, Rashawn already responded with no, but we're going to get his 2 cents on here too. But the topic is, does schools prepare our children or our youth for life? What do you think?
Okay.
What do you think? Because I can
I
tell
say
you right
no.
now, I don't think, well, back in the day, it was a little different where, they were teaching, like, say, cursive. And that's one of the things that you need to basically sign checks and sign your signature on things. And I started with that because it's something so minute. Melanie, it's something so minute that they didn't see importance in, so they took it out of the schools. And that is something that's imperative just for being an adult. You can't sign with print. But outside of that, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I gotta turn this air up a little bit. Let me know if it's too loud though. All
Oh,
right,
you
so
good?
thinking about school, which is very interesting. I don't think school prepares you for life. I think right now our public school systems they pretty much do a lot of check the block type stuff. They do a
Definitely.
lot of check the block. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna make sure that, like you said, in reference to being able to read and write um at a certain level, so that way we can just pass the block. We're gonna make sure that you do a certain level of arithmetic to make sure that you
Mhm.
can pass on to the next grade. The issue is that, what I'm saying, does the school system actually prepare you for life? Does it prepare you to be that entrepreneur, or does it prepare you to be that actual customer, what I'm saying, or the employee? So, I mean, I think when you start talking about the school system, you got to look at, first of all, who are,
Uh-oh.
let
What,
me let
say
me
that
fix
again.
this real quick for you.
Okay. So, okay, so we got some comments on here. Rashawn says school didn't even teach us money management or even how to pay bills. Um, Edward says not at all. Tay says, I make my kids do extra homework outside of their teacher's lesson plans. And then Rashawn said it's a daycare if that. Yeah, I agree that it is a daycare. I agree what you said that they are pretty much, it is a daycare if you think about it, because they give you packets. Fill out this packet. They're not teaching you anything. But do you think it has anything to do with how if you enjoy something like teaching, then it's not necessarily a job, but you're actually enjoying what you're doing, and the kids are getting something from it. So do you think the reason why it's pretty much, is that static on your end or mine? Do
It
you have,
might be my AC. Let me check
yeah,
it
it
real
was,
fast.
because as soon as you move that, it stopped. Do you think that the reason why the schools are like they are now is because people just don't really want to be there, and it's just a job, a paycheck to pay the bills?
I don't think so, man. Shout out to all of the public school system
No
teachers.
shade.
I think, no, definitely no shade, but we wanted to break down some things for y'all or whatever, because that's what we do. Um, I think a lot of those teachers, they want to be there. I think they're underpaid, but I think they want to be there. The issue
You
is
said
that,
all?
when we say again,
Did you say all teachers?
I think a lot of teachers are underpaid.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
think that with that here's the thing. When you're a teacher, right? Because I get this from, let's say, the military or whatever, actually teaching, soldiers certain things about the military. My
Mhm.
issue is this. My issue is that when you have um a certain criteria you need to meet at a certain particular time, you don't have time to individualize your training. You don't have time to individualize your focus. That's why a lot of parents, they send their kids to private schools because they think the
Mhm.
smaller classrooms will give them their kids a better curriculum. And in most cases, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. It all depends on what school you're getting sent to. But I think
Mhm.
that a lot of teachers are underpaid. And when you're underpaid and you're dealing with knucklehead parents, you're dealing with knucklehead parents. They're not helping their kids with homework, right?
Mhm.
But the kids are going home and they're not, the learning does not continue at home. So
Okay.
you're basically saying, teacher, teach my child everything they need to know to get through that class, because I'm not gonna help them once they get home. Because I either got a second job, or I got a second boyfriend, or a second girlfriend, or I got something that's going on in my life where I can't sit down with my kids.
So wait, so you're saying because the teacher is underpaid, that means that they have the luxury of half teaching, they're doing whatever their pay grade is saying. So I'm only going to do as much as I'm getting paid. So with that being said, with us having kids that are in school and the teacher has that mentality, there's no point for them to go to school if a teacher, well, shoot, I'm just going to do as much as you paid me to do, which I'm just going to
I,
show up basically and give your child a packet.
okay, I say this. I say this. I'm gonna agree with your point, and I'm gonna add to your point. My
Okay.
thing is this: if I start out at the beginning of the school year, a lot of kids just started back to school, and I'm pumped up. I'm ready to see the kids. I'm hyped up, or whatever case to be. I got my lesson plans all approved. I am ready for success, right? So the
Okay.
kids come, boom. And the first week, I start giving them homework. All right. By the second week, these kids decide, okay, well, I'm missing my assignment. I didn't do my homework or whatever. So you decide to write that you decide to send a note home to the parents. Parents, they don't hit you back. The parents
Mhm.
don't help the kids with their homework or whatever case it be. So the parents are absent from the learning process. The parents are absent from the enforcement of the learning process. So now that teacher is left to fend with your knucklehead kid. The
But it's
issue with
also,
that is, if
uh-huh.
I'm already getting underpaid, I'm not going back and forth with no parent that's not interested in helping their child.
But it's almost like you're taking the responsibility off of the teacher. There's a responsibility not only on the parent side, but on the teacher side as well. You chose to be in that profession.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, you saying, well, oh, the parent's not going to do this or the parent is not doing that, you still have an obligation to the student because this is the field that you decided to go in. So, past that, once that child is in school, I mean, first of all, you need to kind of really do a self evaluation of why you went into this to begin with. Is it for the money? Is it for the accolades? Is it for to be someone to, I don't know, give you some affirmations? Why did you go into this? Sometimes some jobs, like say CPS worker, it's not about the
Mm-hmm.
money. It's about what you're giving. When you put people's lives or people's children's lives in your hands, some of that stuff, yeah, money is a big deal because you're paying your bills with that. But still, at the end of the day, you have an obligation, you have a responsibility to teach. Therefore,
Okay.
if we put, yeah, we'll go back to the parent, but let's focus on what the job is, the role of the teacher is.
See, here's the thing. When a teacher decides that, you know what, I want to become a teacher, a person decides I want to become a teacher, whether male or female or whatever, of course, you know what I'm saying, uh, that's something where you're performing almost like a customer service type job. The
Okay.
thing about it is, I can only be as good as you allow me to be. That means I could come with a positive attitude, but I need to be met with a positive attitude. I need to be met with a certain type of effort. I'm saying that for a lot of teachers, the frustration is, okay, I got a particular lesson plan that I
Mm-hmm.
need to go ahead and try to teach you. This lesson plan may be mediocre. It may
Mm-hmm.
be mediocre because when you talk about the things that people learn in school or they don't learn in school, let's talk about a lot of planned parenting, right? Let's talk about the LGBTQ community in reference to homosexuality,
Mm-hmm.
history. How many? I'm gonna tell you right now. I didn't learn a lot about slavery in school. I learned about Christopher Columbus. I learned about George
Yeah.
Washington, but I didn't
Yeah.
learn a lot about Africans coming from Africa, coming here and being slaves. They kind of brushed over that. So my thing about it is, what are we allowing the schools or the school system to teach our kids that we're holding the teachers responsible to actually put out.
Okay,
That's
so
the
that's a
question.
two-part thing because I don't believe that parents really have control over the curriculum. That's state mandated, if I'm not mistaken. So that comes from the top down, and the teachers are teaching what they are allowed to teach. So I do believe that there are some teachers who actually try to teach about slavery and our history, but they actually get in trouble because you have some parents who are like, no, don't teach that. My the children do not need to know about that. Like the LGBT community, they don't want. They feel like you're pretty much making forcing those children to digest something that is not correct per the Bible. So I mean, I think in cases like that, when it comes to religion, when it comes to sexuality, there's always going to be an issue with different parents not being on board or not agreeing with that curriculum. So that's always going to be an issue, and I don't know how you would even combat that anyway. So if we, please, what could we do about that if we know that the teachers have no control over what is being taught in the schools?
So let me jump on that. Edward says it's a parent's obligation to check with their son or daughter's homework and
Okay.
support the teacher by ensuring the homework is being done and turned in.
Okay.
You're exactly right.
Yeah,
But
I
here's
agree
the
with that.
issue. Here's the issue. When parents don't do that, the education stops when you leave the school doorstep. It stops. The learning process
I agree with
stops. So the only learning is going on is in the classroom. What's going to happen is that you as a teacher, see, because we're human, and when you got those human emotions going on, it's like, look, I'm trying to teach your knucklehead son, I'm trying to teach your knucklehead daughter. So you're reaching out to the parents, but what do the parents do? What do a lot of parents do? They're automatically going to defensive because they know they haven't been doing their job. So here's the thing. Instead of actually worrying about the curriculum in school and what they're learning and what they're not learning, we're combating the teacher. So if I got an attitude with your mom and your dad, do you really think I'm going to try my hardest to continue to teach your kid? And the kid suffers. It's just like a co-parenting situation. I don't like you, you don't like me, but I'm going to go out my way to make sure your kid learns something. No,
but
not
that,
if you're not working with
but
me.
that's crazy to me. I don't feel like just because
That's
you're having
real
an
life,
issue with,
though.
listen, I think it's asinine to base whether you teach a child on the actions of their parent. Granted, I know that, like you said, once that child leaves the school, then everything stops or the learning stops and you forget, especially in the summertime. But I don't think that teachers should have the luxury of, okay, I'm gonna give up on that child, I'm gonna leave that child behind because I don't agree or I don't get along with the parent. That's what I'm getting from what you said.
The funding and support. First of all, somebody noted No Child Left Behind, right?
Yeah,
The
for sure.
funding won't allow kids just to be, failing. So there's going to be some type of check the block. What I'm trying to say is the first thing that we need to look at when it comes to what our kids are learning inside the classroom is what we decide to support outside the classroom. That means if your kid gets homework, guess what you should be as a parent? You should be making sure that homework gets done so you can have an understanding of what that kid is doing in school. And
But
that's one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the curriculum and like math has changed so much. I'm not making
Definitely.
excuses for the parents, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes even the parent gets overwhelmed and intimidated by the curriculum. Because I mean,
Yep.
trigonometry, where the hell am I gonna use trigonometry at? So as a parent, if my child comes into the house with this XYZ squared to the zero power of the half point of the 3.5 square, what the hell is that? I'm probably not, and I'm just saying this is just a hypothetical. I may not want to help my child, or I may be too intimidated to help my child because I don't know. And anything that makes me feel vulnerable, like telling my child that I don't know, no parent
Okay.
wants to ever say that. No parent wants to
So,
ever say that. And so we don't, they won't help.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in right now, this is the lunchtime debate. I got the captain on the line, Miss Lawanda, the queen, and of course, I'm Mr. KTU 101. And we're talking about, does the school system actually help our kids? Do they actually teach our kids what they need to know in order to be successful? Me, bottom line up front, I think that it's a no. I think
Yeah,
that it's a
I
no. I
agree.
think that it's a lot of checking the block going on. And I think us as parents, we need to be responsible, not
Mhm.
only to help support what the teachers are doing in school, but also to make sure that when they get home, the learning does not stop. the learning does not stop at home. And I think that's one of the things I think Wanda said in reference to the curriculum being ordained by the state. My thing about it is like we as parents, we need to attack those state representatives, those city representatives, and make sure that they say, hey, let's talk about this curriculum. Let's talk
Yeah,
about why we're doing trigonometry and we only need simple arithmetic.
yeah,
I'm just saying probably need to focus on the restructure of a lot of things that's being learned in school, so therefore we can enforce it at home. Because you got to think about it. A lot of parents, they don't know nothing about trigonometry. Shit, you
yeah,
probably can get them borderline on algebra. So the fact
yeah.
of the matter is, it's like, do they need to know that? How many people think they need to know trigonometry in order to be successful in life? Let's see how many people actually tune. Morris, what's up, bro?
Or even what part of math is beneficial? Like you said, basic math. What about algebra, geometry? Do you think those really play a part? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the world is about making money. You know, the world revolves around money. So if I can add, I can
Mm-hmm.
subtract, I can divide. I think
Right.
the basics is what is needed. But you are grading children on their ability to learn this complex math when this is not something they're going to use. So when you say, is the school helping our kids or preparing our kids for their future for life? No, it does not. So I'm definitely in agreement with that. Now, the things, Hope says no trig, basic math only. And Tay
Mm-hmm.
says school needs more arts. Okay, when you say arts, Tay, what kind of arts are you saying? What singing, drama, or home ec? What kind of arts would prepare children for life? Home ec would.
Well, I
Would
mean,
okay.
when you talk about arts, you think about those things, those creative things like singing and dancing, drawing, those things that's going to help manifest the creativity within that individual child. And I think, actually, honestly, I think that's an excellent point in reference to having that. I also think what's a good point is if you look at the basic math, right? Like you said, with the adding and the subtracting or whatever case may be. Now, if you're running a business, you may want to have maybe have one tier up in reference to basic math or whatever case may be. And if you decide to venture into that, I think that's when that math should be available. I think
Hmm.
right now we get so caught up on what sounds good. I
Yeah.
took trigonometry. Well,
Hmm.
shit. Are you a rocket scientist? Are you an engineer? It sounds good. It looks good on. It looks good on maybe you know what I'm saying a breakdown of the classes that you got a 4.0 in. But the
Or
thing about it
when
is,
you go
do
to
you really
college.
need that?
But they look at that when you go to college. They look at, well, arts is one of the things that they looked at, if I'm not mistaken. But then when it comes to arts, you said things like singing or whatever. A lot of people don't respect or think that you can even really go far when it comes to singing or say band or um, a lot of the
Oh, I
things.
love this. I love this. I love what you just said. You know why? Because instead of just singing, teach me how to produce. Teach me how to make my beats. Teach me how to play instruments. That's what I'm saying. Think about it. Instead of worrying about trigonometry and worry about the basics on that math, and then when I talk about I want to be in a singing career, show me how like to be a vocalist. Show me how to write a song, what a hook is, how long a chorus should be. Show me how to read music.
But if
Those are
they
the
do
type of
that,
things that we should amplify because we all know that's something that you can do to get actual money, actual
well,
funds.
these days, that is the narrative that is being painted, that you can make all of this money being a singer, being a rapper, being this. But the thing is, too, you got to look at the parent. A lot of times, and I'm gonna reference a movie. Remember the movie Sister Act, where she said singing does
Mhm.
not put food on the table. You know that whole narrative. But in actuality, depending on who you know, it does. It will not work for everybody. Now, you know there will be parents who want to support their child. I'm gonna put little
Mhm.
Bobby Ray in singing, even though I know he can't sing a lick, but I'm gonna support him. Do we want schools to teach something like that when they know that that child is probably not gonna excel at that? Do you want to set kids up for failure like that? And let me
I don't.
just
I don't.
before you go, Didi says, I don't think schools would ever put more arts into the school. That's giving kids too much freedom to express themselves. And you know,
Mhm.
like I know, society doesn't want you to express your individuality. They want you to be in a box.
Well, they,
This is
they they want you to be in a box, and they also want you to be global citizens. That means when you go to another country, you are a representation of the United States. And here's the thing, you know, If we had more school systems that tailor to those arts, those creative arts, and really manifest those abilities, just imagine how much smarter our musicians would be. How much smarter, you know what I'm saying, those kids that's artists. Like, here's the thing. If someone manifests your art concept, you know how to draw, you know how to paint, whatever the case be. Now they teach you how to put that art on a platform, how to take that art and market that art in a gallery, how to take that money that you're doing to open your own art gallery, how to run a business. See, that's what I'm saying. Everything connects to everything. So
It does.
instead of trying to force, well, this is what we want you to know. This is how. That's why a lot of people choose to homeschool. That's what we need to tackle right now. That's why a lot of people choose this is what you need to know in order to be successful. So let's talk about, is homeschooling the next step?
I do believe so, and for many reasons. One is, I mean, all of the school shootings. Our kids aren't safe in the schools. Our kids are being bullied. They don't have the support they need as far as, administration, the counselors and things. So really, are we sending our children to school to be killed? We already know they're not learning anything. The curriculum
Mm-hmm.
is not set up for children to be productive members of society, and I'm saying that in an economical fashion. Now they're already taking your ability to express yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go back to the LGBTQ. That's an expression of yourself because that's who you identify with. But the society, school is going to tell you that that's not right. So is homeschool the next step? I think it is. But at the same time, when parents are working to provide and they don't have that time to do homeschooling, then what?
Well, we push our kids in reference to homeschooling being the next step. We push our kids to go and make good grades in a school that is or outlined in white privilege.
Okay,
We push our kids to school, make good grades so that way you can go to college. Here's the thing.
you're right,
What
Dean.
are you learning in college that's going to make you successful for the things that you want to do? A lot of people get degrees and they don't get jobs in the degrees that they have. So it's like, I got this piece of paper. I went through this 2-year or 4-year college, depending on who you are, or even further in reference to PhD and all that great stuff. And now you have all this education and you don't know what to do with it. Or better yet, you can't do anything with it. So you go get a less paying job because of course you got to pay the bills. So my thing about it is homeschooling necessary, and in what communities do we have time to actually be there to homeschool? Are the parents qualified to teach this? Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
that's where
Uh-oh.
it really, there's so many facets to what we're speaking on in terms of school and homeschool and the curriculum, that where do you start? You know what I'm saying? Who do you talk to? Where can you begin? Because at this point, we're trying to problem solve and find out what the real issue is. And while we're even asking the question is school preparing our kids for life? Where can you even start in that? Now we know what we want or what we would like to see because we've lived life. So we know what would probably be more beneficial to our children. But if we go back to what needs to be in place, if we take homeschool out of it, it's still an option, but let's take it off right now. What needs to be in place in this moment? Not what has been going on, but in this moment, what needs to happen? What does the curriculum need to look
Well,
like?
first of all, the parents need to get involved. That's number one. If we're gonna
Okay.
break this down to the lowest decimal, the parents need to get involved. You need to find out exactly what's being taught to your kids. Once they come home, you need to find out exactly what you need to do as a parent, which is be involved, first of all, and see what exactly this homework entails. How long do you actually spend on reading? How long you actually spend on arithmetic? Do you find out what your kid learned that day? Do you challenge your kid in reference to doing any other curricular activities? We need to get involved, and we need to be a team player when it comes to the school system. See, the thing about it is, I love the school system, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because a lot of smart people got together and said, this is the baseline for education. But that does not stop the parent from saying, I'm now going to take you to this museum. I'm now going to take you to this monument. I'm now going to take you here, 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 so you can learn more about life. You can learn about slavery. You can learn about entrepreneurship. You can learn about socialism. You can learn about how the world works, so you can apply that to that basic education and then come out on top.
Would that still work with it being so diverse? Because I see someone said that it should be tailored to each individual child. And in that aspect, the only way that that can
No.
happen
Uh-uh.
is homeschool. But then look, if you do, like Tay said, if you put your child in, if you implement homeschool, then your child will be socially inept because you have your
And,
child at home. So that's a fundamental, that is a basic human need to
and this is what I'm
socialize.
saying. If you're the only child, you know what I'm saying? I can get that. I can get that. Hey, I need that social aspect, that social time. But again, if you sit your child down and you create a homeschool curriculum and it's approved, because ladies and gentlemen, your homeschool curriculum needs to be approved. You can't just say I'm gonna keep them out of school. You got to get it approved. But you set a time. You ever heard of somebody called like a play date? You set
Yeah.
times where your kids can go out there and get that socialization that they need, so that way they're not conformed to, well, I'm gonna be like in the wilderness when I get around other kids or whatever it be. So you gotta lay all that out. You got to lay all that out. So if you decide to pull your kids back from the public school system or sending them to a private school and you want to do a homeschool piece, you got to lay that out, that curriculum, along with that socialization time, so that way they can be prominent, they can be good.
Okay. That's a good point. But let me ask you, because in the beginning you said that the teacher could pretty much have the option of not teaching that child because they don't get along with the parent. So that would mean you would kind of look at the parent, I guess the makeup of the parent, not necessarily their look, so it has nothing to do with that, but the capability of that parent. What gives that parent the, are they qualified? How do you basically qualify a parent outside of they're that child's parent if you were going
Okay,
to do homeschool?
hold on. Let's see what Hope has to say. She says, Hope says, not true, does not need to be approved. I beg to differ, Hope. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. However, it says y'all are not giving correct information on homeschooling. Okay, well,
I
feel free
think
to
she
chime
said
in,
she
but
thought,
I can tell
I
you
think
right
she,
now, I know 3 parents right now who homeschool. They homeschool, all right, and what they teach their kids, it has to be approved. So whatever format that they use to get it approved, that's the format they go. They just didn't pull their kids out from school and say you're now going to be homeschooled. It doesn't work
yeah.
like that. But you can try it based on your state. You can try it because Texas is kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's gonna be different. I think different organizations or different programs do things differently. For some, you have to be
Definitely,
approved. For some,
definitely,
you do not.
definitely.
So, her experience was different. I do believe up in the post she did say that she homeschooled her children. But I never homeschooled mine.
Is Hope in Texas? Hope, are you in
Yeah,
Texas?
she's in Texas now.
Oh, you're in
But
Texas. When you homes, are you homeschooling or were you homeschooled? I just want to clarify something real quick. You choose, hold on, you choose what you want.
it depends on what program you use, though.
Okay,
Okay, so
you were
yeah,
homeschooled, yes.
and you homeschool your children as well. What was the difference between you being
I
homeschooled and then
homeschooled.
your children being homeschooled? Yep. When I did research on homeschooling, it did have to be approved by the school in order for that child to get
Right,
credit.
right.
And so,
The reason why, LaWanda, because you hit the nail on the head, ladies and gentlemen. Um, the issue is that a lot of parents, they have different learning curves. I.e., LaWanda may know some stuff that I don't know, so I may think that my curriculum for my child is the best. I may say, you know what, you don't even need math. You don't need
mm,
to learn math. Forget math. And LaWanda might say, oh, yeah, you need to know that trigonometry. So the thing about it, it has to be someone, a neutral party from the
yeah.
state. It has to be somebody neutral that can say, yes, based on this curriculum, yes, you are allowed to teach your kid X, Y, and Z or whatever case to be. Because after you homeschool that person, they still need to go out and be able to function in society based on what you taught them at home. So, hey, Hope, I appreciate you chiming in. Again, I think every situation may be different, but I do know for a fact you need that. You need to approve that, and that's coming from a military standpoint or whatever. Because I had military soldiers who actually was homeschooling their kids, and they had to get it approved. So maybe it's
She
different
said
for
not
the
true in
military, maybe
Texas.
it's not.
And it could be, She said not true in Texas. Now I'm not
Okay,
savvy on that. I'm
okay.
gonna even not gonna pretend that I'm a SME, subject matter expert when it comes to homeschooling, because I did not do that. I was not homeschooled. I always went to public schools.
Okay,
Um, Now let me
but
ask you. Let
Hmm.
me ask you, okay, so I know that you can get into the different programs and you teach them a certain curriculum, but when it comes to the testing, is the testing the same tests that are in the schools or is that different?
Didi,
Subject matter
subject
expert.
matter expert.
I know, look, she's sitting right here, she
Huh?
asking me, and I'm right in here with her. She talking about,
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, we want you to share right now because we're having this adult conversation about are schools doing what they're supposed to do with our kids? Are they teaching them what they need to do to be successful? We have Miss Hope on the line or whatever. She's kind of chiming in and letting them know, hey, homeschool may be a little bit different versus what me and LaWanda may be savvy to, which is fine and that's great if things have changed or things are changed here in Texas. But the thing about it is, if you think that homeschooling is best, I suggest that you do
research.
your state research, and you find out if homeschooling is the best thing for you to do for your individual children. Because I think right now, when we talk about the baseline of education that's coming towards our kids, is it really preparing our kids? Is it really
It's not.
preparing our kids?
It's not, because one of the things I feel like is very important that I don't even know how you would even begin to do it. First of all, is our children being safe in the school, being safe outside of the school. What skills can we teach them inside of the school that's going to actually benefit them when they walk out of the school grounds? I mean, especially when you don't even have a
Mhm.
good, clear program or for bullying. Even though bullying has been around for a long time,
Mhm.
that's why these kids are going back to shoot up the schools because there's nothing being done. So, in terms of curriculum, yes, basic math, definitely our history. Our kids don't even know who they are. And then, so when it comes time to
Mhm.
protest, they're protesting about something they heard, not something that they researched and know about.
Lawanda, you make a good point. Here's the thing. A lot of, what's so funny, man? A lot of people right now, especially African Americans that I meet, you know what I'm saying, based on business wise or even on a professional, a personal note, the fact of the matter is a lot of people don't want to talk about slavery. They don't want
Uh,
their kids to embellish in, think about slavery. Let's think about the here and now. So the issue is that when you go and you talk to the school board and you say, you know what, I think this should be a part of the school curriculum. The issue is you have people like, I'll include myself, and say, oh, I don't want my kids to learn about slavery. They can
mhm.
know about slavery, but I don't want them to harp on slavery. Like, you're not about to test them out. You're not about to say who Harriet Tubman and what she did and all this other stuff. So the issue is that it's hard to get a common denominator on what basic education should be learned because you have
Yes,
so many different aspects of people.
yes, yes. I mean, it's gotten so bad to where, kids are being sent home because of their hair. Whether they wear extensions or if they
Mhm.
have dreads or if they have afros. Now, outside of you wanting us to pledge to, say the Pledge of Allegiance, then you want to change our hair, you want to change our dress, you don't want to teach certain things like our history. So really, and I hate to say it, is school even for, well, society, the way the schools are set up, is it really even for our children of color?
Okay, here's my thing. Again, I believe this is what I believe personally. I believe that school is set up baseline for all. I believe school is set up baseline for all. And I was actually having this conversation in regards to the here and now versus when I was growing up or whatever, and versus social media. It's hard to keep me from learning. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard. It's hard to keep. That means whatever a Caucasian person is privy to online, I'm privy to. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's hard to say I'm going to school and we got this white book for this person and this black book for you, and y'all go ahead and be great. So it's not like that. So if it's streamlined, and that's what I say. To me, it's a generalized education system where we have to go back and say, okay, since it's generalized here, I need to add some specific points that I want my child to know to be savvy with. I can't
I agree
expect
with
the
that.
teacher to go and expand their horizons when they're getting paid to paid to deliver a lesson plan. But the lesson
Mhm.
plan has to stopping at the doorstep of the school and has to extend throughout the child's home life. And that's the issue. It's not
Yeah,
extending. For a lot of
I
people,
have
it's
to
not
agree with
extending,
that.
and we blame the teachers for not learning. We blame it. A lot of people blame the teachers for not learning.
I have to agree with that. I can't even take anything away from that because yes, they do have an obligation to teach what they are allowed to teach. But then past that, like it's just like with say the homeschooling. I'm just come back to that. We only know the
Mhm.
basics. If we want to know more about it to be schmees on it, then we have to do the research on that. Now, at any time, we welcome anybody to give some feedback on it if they know more. But at the end of the day, what it boils down to, you can't just stop at what somebody just told you. You have to do more research on whatever topic it is, whether it's
Right.
school, whether it's relationship, whatever it is. It's going to be up to us at the end of the day. But when you said at the beginning, because we want to go back to the parenting as well, you
Hmm.
said, okay, how much accountability or responsibility do you give the parent for things that the child don't know, especially when they don't even know it themselves? Remember, back in the day, education was not the strong suit for the black community. They were not
Right.
allowed to read, and
Right.
so if this is a learned behavior through the generations, and that's how it is, then go ahead.
No, this is what I love, and this is why I like doing this right here. I love when we separate, when we put the line on, when we draw the line in the sand and say black people and white people, right? Here's the
Mhm.
thing. You know the issue between black people and white people and them learning is because, let's say for me, say I got siblings at home. When I come out of school, I got to make sure that my little brother is squared away. I got to make sure that the meal is cooked. I got to make sure that I deal with grandma. I got to do all of these things that's not of a child's place. You understand what I'm saying? That's what's going on in a lot of the African American communities. That's not happening in the Caucasian community. So they're allowed to kind of manifest on their basic learning needs in reference to the general education. They're allowed to say, okay, this is arithmetic, da da da. Mom, I'm done with my homework. Here's the thing:
Yeah,
before I get to my homework, I gotta make sure the laundry done, the food cooked, my siblings are straight.
that's
So
not new.
the responsibilities are different. You see what I'm saying? The responsibilities are different. So that's why
Kind
I
of,
said we.
sort of, but not really. Remember back in the day, even past slavery times, children were not allowed to go to school. They had to help with the farm. They had to
Correct.
go pick on or
Yep.
whatever. So this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not new. Kids doing chores before homework is is generational. This has always been a
Right.
thing. So it's priority of the home. To each home is going to be different. So I think you can only really do what's best for your home. Yes, there's a standard. Yes, you want your children to learn, but everybody has the capability with technology since it's such a big thing. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what is good for your family.
Somebody made a good point, Lawanda, and they said the individual learning styles. Here's the thing, man.
Oh yeah.
If I have a classroom, um, with, let's say, 20 to 25 kids, it's hard, as a teacher, to individualize a learning style. And this is why I said this is important for parents. If you understand that your child learns a certain type of way, once they go through the school day, when they get home, you need to make sure that you encourage the type of learning that's specific to your individual child. And you also need to make sure that you make that teacher aware of the type of learning style that best suits your kids. Now, some people would say, well, they're a teacher, they decided to do that, et cetera, et cetera. I got it, but you got to think about how many other students are in that classroom and how much emphasis can they put on your one child.
Get out of here. But that with that, even if you teach your child at home per their learning style, when they go
Mhm.
back to the school, it's almost like a mixed message. They go back to school, that teacher reteaches a different way. Then they go home and then it's a different way. That's going to confuse that child. That's not going to be a stable, I don't want to say curriculum, but for lack of a better word, a stable curriculum for the child, especially young children. Now, older
You, you,
children,
you,
yes.
you're not okay. Let's say we took the basic arithmetic, right? The teacher gives the borderline instructions on how you need to add certain things, how you need to subtract, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We understand that, you know what, our kid, they learn hands-on. So when they get home and they got that math, we're not going to just ask them, okay, what's 5 minus 3? We're going to say, okay, write this down. We're gonna say, hey, these 5 pencils, you subtract these 3 pencils, how many pencils you got? We're gonna do what's best for our child to learn. So we're gonna take that basic generalized education and we're going to amplify and increase it to the type of learning that's specific to our child. So we're just helping. We're just helpers. We're team
Yes.
teachers, and we're helping them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying
Yes.
change
Oh,
it.
I
I'm
get it.
saying make it
I
more
get it.
familiar.
Yeah, I get it. And at the same time, though, like you got to look at each individual parent and their learning style. Their learning style may be completely different from their child's learning style. So if mine is completely different from yours, how could I teach you per your learning style if I can't even learn that way? So I mean, it
Well,
just really
and
depends.
again, that's about us as parents realizing that yeah, we have two different types of learning styles. However, this it's about both of us learning. It's about both of us being able to blossom or whatever. The thing about it, you got to understand that a lot of people, man, I'm telling you, it's just a lot of people who are not engaged with their child's homework. It's did you do your homework? It's did you do your homework? Because they're like this. I already did my school time. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people now, if you ask them what's the last book you read, it'd be Mum's the Word. But they know that
Oh
they,
yeah.
they, they know that their kid got two books to read that week. You see what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So my thing about it is we don't, in per se, what you say, practice what you preach. We don't
Practice
we
what you.
don't do the things that our kids do to encourage our kids. We don't
We
do it.
don't. I mean,
We
we
not. I mean,
don't.
it's some people that love to read, but we don't encourage. Do we encourage our children to read? But we don't read. Like they don't never see us read. So to me, the,
Yeah,
the
it's like
balance
do
is
as I say, not as I do.
right, right, right.
That's been
That was
said
said.
forever.
We are enforcers of school systems and learning systems.
Yep.
Definitely. I
Yep.
I, I
We
think.
are. Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead with your thought, because I was going to talk about Letitia's point.
No, I was just saying. I mean, exactly right in reference to being enforcers. But I mean, my thing about it is, sometimes when you don't know how to lead, you can't lead.
You're right.
You can't enforce something you don't really know. The only thing we could be, honestly, is helpers, assisters. Let me help you. And if you don't know how to help, talk to the teacher. What can I do at home to help my child? Thing about it is, it's egos. You're not gonna tell me how to raise my child. That's the problem. And the thing about it is, you don't know. Shit, you probably was young when you had the kid. Y'all probably like 10, 15 years apart. So you don't know how to teach this kid because you wasn't never taught.
Well,
So our egos get in the way.
that's not necessarily true because I had kids young and I still taught my kids. But Letitia says schools should implement the different learning styles. I feel like if the curriculum is already mediocre at best, do you think teachers and schools want to take the time, the effort, even make that time and effort to implement different learning styles? Even though they know that Billy Bob and Tisha and Mark, all three have different learning styles, that is a lot of extra work when and still make lesson plans and still, create a learning environment for the kids. It's a lot, and a lot of people do not want to undertake that, especially if they're not getting paid, to do it.
Well, I think that that's something as parents or just concerned citizens, we take that up with the school board system, and we try to make sure that the learning styles are implemented. Um, the majority can be implemented at that particular time, whether it's hands on, whether it's visual, whether it's just repetition, whatever it is, we try to make sure that the learning style that best suits our kid is inside that curriculum. And I think again, we don't take the time to go to those school board meetings. So it's like, okay, I don't know what they're learning. How they teach you, that's good. And here's the thing, it's just like when you talk about a bad parent, oh, that teacher don't know what she talking about. That teacher don't know what he talk about. So now you set in that kid's head, I ain't gotta listen to the teacher. And when they don't listen to the teacher, now you at the school debating the teacher back and forth for what you set in motion for that kid. And guess what? Nobody's talking about learning. So for
Yeah, but
half the
I
school year, your,
totally.
your child's been struggling.
Yeah, yeah. And because they do have those programs called 504s for children who do have learning disabilities like ADHD or something like that. But although they will have you go up to the schools and work out a plan for your child, their learning style, or what they need if there's a behavior issue, they do not
Mm-hmm.
implement that until the end of the year when they have to do a review. So now you've gone up to the school several times to speak to these teachers or the counselor or the principal in regards to your child not getting anything from school, or but even if you tell them, even if they know that the child has an issue, nobody wants to tackle it because it's too overwhelming, it's too much, they have too many other kids to worry about, so
I,
the
you
ball is still being dropped. So what do we do about that?
I think this is one of those situations where we have to be realistic with ourselves. Stop blaming the teachers for what you're not doing at home.
But
Stop blaming the teachers. If I have 30 kids that I have to teach, I'm gonna teach this curriculum to the best of my ability. However, if you feel that your child is not doing or learning what they need to learn, then you need to take it upon yourself as a parent and responsible individual to come and talk to me as a teacher, talk to the principal, talk to your child, do something. Don't wait to the end of the school year. In the first 30 days, you can get a real feel on how your child is in a class. You
but
can get
listen,
a real feel.
I said that the parent has went up there consistently to talk to the teachers about it, but they've taken on that mindset of I have too many other students to worry about. I can't be worried about yours. So it's not like not all the time the parent is not doing what they need to do to make sure that their child is being successful in class. Sometimes we have to put there's blame to go around everywhere. Yes, it's the parent. Yes, it's the teachers. Yes, it's the system. Yes, it's the administration. But how do we fix that? What do we do now?
But to see the thing about it is before you see this is great. I love it. Before your kids get to school, guess where they at? They at home. When your kids leave the school, guess where they at? They at home. So my thing about it, it starts at home and it ends at home. So that middle part in the school, all I'm there to check the block. What the teacher got me learning? Okay, I don't understand. Hey, mom, hey, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. The parents have to make time. The thing about it is this goes into an even bigger picture. It's like this. If mom got 2 jobs, she ain't got time to help with the homework. If dad is not in the house because guess what, y'all co-parenting and dad lives in another city, what shit, he FaceTime your homework, which is possible. Been there,
Yeah.
done that. I'm just saying, a lot of times it's not 2 people in a home. So that responsibility, I didn't say burden, I said responsibility falls on that single parent. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So now it's like, okay, well, damn, I want to look at your homework, but do I really have time to look at it in depth like I want to? So I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And you only got 1 kid or 2 kids, maybe even 3. Imagine a teacher having 30 kids. So we got to be realistic. We got to
Yeah,
be realistic.
but if we're gonna speak on being realistic, the reality is the way
Mhm.
the world is set up at this point where you can work one job and you may be getting paid minimum wage, so you got to work another job or work overtime and more hours where you're not even at home to teach your child. So if they're not going to even pay you enough on your job to take care of your family and you got to spend all of your time. Uh-oh, she said what happened to the sound?
I can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me now, Edward?
I can hear you.
No, he said he couldn't hear. But if the parent, and it's almost like you want to blame the parent for trying to live. If we're talking about the schools preparing our children for life, that parent is already living that life that the world is not even forgiving on. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it's our.
So listen, y'all. Hey, y'all. LaWanda taking this personal, y'all.
No, I'm not.
LaWanda
Actually,
taking
I
this
was.
shit personal.
No, actually, I wasn't. That had nothing to do with
The
me.
world,
One.
the world, Craig, the world.
No, because okay, it's all in the way that you're perceiving what I'm saying. For one,
Huh?
actually, I was taking what somebody said and I was just putting it into my own words. So Tay's like I said earlier, it's easy to sit down and always check and make sure your kids are doing their homework. But some people have demanding jobs needed to provide for the household.
Yeah.
It's the teacher's job to teach the kids the lesson plans. It's my job to ensure it's being done at home. But when kids come home with good grades and progress reports, but can't comprehend basic math when you ask them questions, why didn't the teacher let the parents know that the kid is really struggling? That's why I said what I said.
Well, I
That's
mean,
responsible,
you kind of just caveated off of what I just said, honestly. I mean, yeah.
but it's
I mean, you
still no. I'm reading. I was actually reading, but it's still. I mean, because it seems like you only want to make the parent responsible when
no, no, no,
people who.
no. I don't,
Okay, I'm
I
just
don't
making
only
sure.
want to make it. I don't only want to make the parent responsible. The thing about it is when we start saying things like, well, I have 2 kids, I'm either a single parent or both parents work, and we don't really have time to check the homework like that. So therefore, we require and demand that the teacher do whatever they need to do to teach our kids to make them successful. And I'm trying to tell you right now, when you talk about society says, no, we didn't tell you lay down to get those kids. We didn't tell you to lay down to get those kids. You decided to have those kids. So guess whose
Okay,
overall responsibility it is to teach those kids?
okay.
You. You
Okay,
send
so
them
you
to a
want, that's
school.
a whole nother topic right there.
I'm
Oh,
no, no, no. I'm saying. Here's the thing. It's like you send a kid to Sunday school, and you
mm,
say in Sunday school you're gonna learn about the disciples. You're gonna learn whatever you believe in, right? It's not that person at Sunday school's overall job to teach your kid about whatever religion you believe in. No, it's gonna be you to help gather the thought process for that kid, just like school. That's only a short period of time that your kids are
listen.
there to get whatever learning process. The learning does not stop
Yeah.
when it comes to your household.
No, I'm tracking. I totally get what you're saying, but you gotta um think about those other variables that play a part in that. It's not because, again, I the way I'm perceiving it is that you're putting the sole responsibility on that parent. Now, in terms of, you say it's the parent's responsibility to teach the child, and all of that you said. At the same time, although the parent has a responsibility, when the state or the law or whatever governs how you do whatever you do, like child discipline, you
Mm-hmm.
tell me I can't discipline my child, you end up being the one to discipline my child, but then you want to blame it on me. But you've already steeled my hand and said I can't discipline my child. But then my child is in jail, and then you still blame it on me. So with that, yes, a parent may be teaching their child at home, but when they go to school, it's different. You have other factors that play a part in that child's ability to learn. One of them is other people. The other one is the way that that child is learning. The other thing is being able to, even the curriculum. There's too many variables to really point one finger at one individual. There's going to be many facets of that child being able to learn. And if there's a breakdown in the school system in general, what do you, I mean, not saying I'm not taking giving people responsibility where it's due, but I'm saying think about all of those intricate details that are involved here. It's not that it's
But
not an easy answer.
so here's when the rubber meets the road and the elephant in the room speaks. Are you really giving people, like, are you really saying that, what I'm saying, parents are responsible? I mean, are we
Edward said
are
he
we really
couldn't hear.
saying, say what?
Edward said he couldn't hear.
Okay,
So
he
I
said he
can hear
rolled out.
you.
So the thing about it is, are we really saying, the thing at the end of the day, if we keep on trying to pacify mistakes, we'll never get down to the nitty gritty of, okay, whose fault is it? The thing about it is, anybody that's in a capacity to teach, or any type of capacity where they have a title, whether it's a parent or a school teacher, you have a responsibility to whatever individual that's involved. So if it's the kids that's involved, then guess what? Everybody failing across the board. Because I can be pro teacher all I want to, and you can be pro parent all you want to. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. So when we say, is the school system helping to prepare our children for life, I would say, well, they're giving them a pinch of what they need. They're giving them a pinch of what they need. But a lot of those intimate conversations that happen, like at midnight when you with your kid and y'all just talking or whatever, or y'all driving somewhere, or y'all doing something, your kid is learning. They're learning what to
Mhm.
do, and they're learning what not to do, what to learn, what not to learn. You see what I'm saying? So a lot
His
of learning
priorities.
happens at home.
Mhm.
Definitely prioritize. Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely, yes, because I think sometimes people get overwhelmed with life, and learning, or that part takes a back seat. Because I mean, but okay, so we've already figured out or spoke on what the breakdown is, but how do we fix it? What needs to happen at this point outside? Yes, the teachers need to be involved. Yes, the parents need to be involved. We need to be doing it. What's that saying? It takes a village. That village includes parents. It includes teachers. It includes the system, the school system. So since we know that, right now, for the kids who are in school right now, since kids just started school, and shout out to all the parents with all these Facebook pictures of your kids in their first day of school outfits. What can we do now to make sure that the children are learning and the teachers are involved outside of just saying y'all need to get involved?
You got to go to the meetings. You got to sit down and you got to be proactive together as parents, and sit down with those teachers, the principals, the superintendents, and you have to say, listen, these are the top things that I feel like my child should be learning, and put it out there in the atmosphere and start working those things or whatever. The thing about it is, we can't just take, oh, this is what we teach your kids now. Now go ahead and scoop. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, if that's the case, if you really look at a lot of people when they're protesting or they have an issue at school or whatever, and you ask them, you said something about, oh, I always go up there and I talk to the teacher. Well, maybe you don't need to talk to the teacher. Maybe you need to go above the teacher's head and actually sit down. The thing about it is when you go and you sit down with somebody, you got to have your ducks in a row. You
Yeah.
can't go up there unprofessional and you think somebody's just going, oh, this is my child. And I'm gonna. Well, if you're doing all that, you can teach your child. You can teach your child. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen it. So the thing about is how you approach the situation. How you
Yeah.
approach the situation and what you want to do. So, like you said, what do we need to do? What we need to do as parents and individuals that's responsible and that we feel that it's our obligation to go to those meetings and sit down and bring solutions to the table. This is what I feel like my child should be learning. And get a
Okay.
vote.
All right. Okay. In regards to the testing, you know how are they still doing the task and they have all of these different tests, but
Right.
during the whole year, the child never
Mhm.
learned anything, but you're teaching them on things that they never comprehended. And because there's so many teachers or so many students, they don't have time to teach that child, but they still give them or still hold that child accountable for passing the test. Would
This is
you
why I'm saying.
think going to
Go ahead.
talk
Mhm.
to the school or going to these meetings are going to change the tests, the way they do the test?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, there is not a test out there right now that you can't get a practice copy of. What?
You think? You
SAT,
think so?
there's not a test out there right now that's a statewide test that you can't get an example or a practice copy. Entering the military, fuck astronauts, police force, there's not a test you can't get. So if your child is getting ready to go to testing and you're not saying, well, I don't know if my child's prepared or not. Well, you can find out if your child's prepared or not. That means they can't play the Sega Genesis. They can't play the Nintendo. That just means they need to sit in there and you need to see how they're going to do on this test. We don't do that. But when they fail, what we say? Oh, well, the teacher should have told us the whole year that they was failing. Come
Now
on,
listen,
man.
I don't
Come
necessarily agree with
on.
that because, like in college, they tell you to study chapters 1 through 5, but then when you actually take the test, it's chapter 23 on there. They don't
I don't know
necessarily
what
when they
college
give
that
you
was. I went to college too.
yeah, Texas
I,
A&M,
oh,
Texas A&M, Central Texas,
okay,
right here. Right.
okay.
But it does happen, so don't take it away that it doesn't happen. That's why they're giving these children packets and they want you to test out these packets, and then the packet that they gave you, the information on the test is not even in that packet. This is a fact. This ain't no made up stuff. This actually happens. So what you got to say to that, Sir
What I gotta
Mario?
say to that is, Lawanda, that may be once out of how many tests?
That no,
That may
it's
be
not. It's
one
not.
test is not gonna fail you for the whole thing.
Listen,
Like,
listen.
if that's the case, LaWanda, let's say LaWanda has kids right now, school age kids that's in school, and your kids say, you know what, mom, hey, look, I studied chapters 1 through 3, but they tested on 4 through 10. So LaWanda kid says that. Mario Cochran kid says that. 15 other people say that. So you know what's gonna happen next year? That shit ain't gonna be like that next year because we gonna raise hell. So somebody
If
going
you
through
raise
that,
hell.
and somebody's going through that, that's because the parents ain't do nothing to fix it. That's how I
Dude,
feel
parents,
about that.
listen, parents can go and say whatever the hell they want. At the end of the day, the school system is going to do what they want to. So
They
when you
won't
say
do what they want.
they've been doing
We
that,
okay, okay, here's the thing. We're talking about state mandates. We're talking about people in positions where they say the curriculum has to be approved. Now, 9 times out of 10, the curriculum may not get approved that fast. The
mm-hmm.
issue is that people will either one, they'll retract that test or that section of the test and actually teach what needs to be taught. So that means they can add to their lesson plan, but they can't take away from their lesson plan. So what I'm saying, there's a way to fix this. I'm saying there's a way to fix this, and
Well,
we as
yeah,
parents, we have to be smart to find a way.
yeah. Well, clearly, we're going to have a conversation. Clearly, these board meetings, the parents need to be in that. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of times where parents actually go to these board meetings and nothing is changing. So clear, there's an issue. You saying that right now because you're trying to give a easy answer when if it was that
I'm
easy,
giving an
then our
easy
kids
answer
would be
because
learning something. If it was that easy, our children would be learning. Instead, we are trying to figure out how to get them to be successful in these schools. So
the
there's a
kids are
breakdown
learning.
somewhere.
Kids are learning. The thing about it is what they're learning and if it's beneficial to their life or not. Is it
Okay.
beneficial to them actually being successful? My thing about it is a kid can go to school all the way up from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade and not learn how to be a business owner. So
Yeah.
they're learning, you know, they're learning. The issue is what they're learning and how do I affect what they're learning. But if I just
Yeah.
leave it on the school system to hopefully get it right, the thing about it is just like we're doing Facebook Lives right now. I don't see too many people talking about this type of situation. And if they're talking about the situation, what are they doing from that? See, when you get people that says, you know what, you got a point, Lawanda. Let me share this to somebody that I know that works for the school board.
Mm.
Huh? But if we was on here cursing each other out, you know what would be happening right now? Share, like, share. Girl, boy, that's
You
the
are right.
problem. That's the problem. As parents, as responsible adults, right? That we say we don't do anything. We keep all our stuff enclosed. Like this should be a secret. This shouldn't be a secret. It's a problem.
Mm.
It's a problem.
You're right, and again, I can't take anything from that. Hope says school is 5% learning and 95% programming. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Very low success rates. They will always program. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Again, so if we're
I agree with that.
to our original topic, the reason why we even started this live is, are the schools preparing our children for life? And we both concede that it's a definite no. Again, what programs or what do we need to do to fix it? Yes, we can go to the board meetings. Yes, we need to be active in our children learning at home as well as school. Yes, we need to be diligent in that, but it's definitely going to take more conversation. Is the problems are definitely going to need to be brought to the forefront so that people know. And it's not one of those things. Yeah, we know that this is a problem, but we're not going to talk about it because one, it's inconvenience. One, I'm scared to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to be active and engaged.
You made some very valid points, and I like the way you summarized that. Here's the thing: when I can find out about how to better my child's education, um, who the contacts are for the school system or for the board members, um, versus finding out about Beyonce's next child or you know what I'm saying, Nicki
Waffle
Minaj's
House.
new video. The thing about it is, man, you know, I hate to say it, and I was telling somebody else yesterday, man, I hate to use social media is destroying us, but I do know how beneficial social media can be. But the thing about it is, it's like with all the parents, everybody that's watching this right now says, you know what, I have a child, or I know somebody with a child. Hell, shit, it's somebody pregnant right now with a child, right? The fact of the matter is like this. What are we doing to actually be involved in our child's learning process?
That's a good
And how
question.
long do we complain about it before we actually see? Me and you, we need people like Hope. We need people like Hope that says, you know what, I'm a product of the homeschool environment. And this is what I learned. Okay, well, I went to a private school. This person went to a public school. Let us get together and find out what is the best curriculum for the public school. What's the best way to
Mm.
teach our kids? That's what we don't do. And that's what we need to get excited about and say, you know what, let's have a different conversation. Let's have a conversation that not only show that we're responsible adults and role models, but show to our kids if they ever see this, damn, they care. They really
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, because right now it does seem like the parents don't care. Because our kid, I mean, this is our future. Our children are our future, and if we don't do something now, I mean, the world is already going to hell in a handbasket right now. So I mean, I guess
No doubt.
we started the conversation, and that's a step in the right direction. So y'all make sure y'all share because this is
Definitely.
not no
Yeah,
small thing
definitely.
we're doing. Y'all definitely
Definitely.
share. And if you have something to add, we'll still comment on the post. You have something to add, then let's keep this thing going. Let's pass this around because it's very important. And I have grandkids now, and I have three of them, and I want them to have a fighting chance at being successful. So when my grandkids go to school, I want to know that they're learning. I'm going to be active in that, even if I don't understand the curriculum. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna call Mario. Hey Mario, what's this trigonometry, algebra,
And I'm gonna be like, I don't
chemistry?
know. Let me Google it.
For
Let me
real,
Google it.
man. And you know what? That's where it has come down to now. Because I know sometimes when my kids used to bring homework home, they used to Google the answers. So
Man, I wish I had Google, boy. I wish I had
man,
Google would have helped me a lot.
Google, man, that saved your life. Even in
Google.
college, that saved your life.
Well, you can't be getting no test off. Hey, look, y'all gotta stop that, boy. Woo! Y'all gotta stop that. That what they call it? Plagiarism. Y'all gotta stop that. I'm
Plagiarizing,
done. I'm done.
plagiarism. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
But
so
I
we
mean, hey,
definitely,
before I go, you know what I'm saying? I know this is the captain live, so I'm gonna jump off of here. Look, first of all, I appreciate y'all rocking with us. I hope that y'all share. I hope that y'all get something from this. It's a
yes.
different type of conversation over here, folks. That's what's up. Make sure y'all tune in every Sunday live at 5. We set it off, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Zimbri, shout out to V, shout out to K254 Radio. I'm out, Mr. K2101. I'm gonna holler at you.
Peace,
Be love.
y'all.